All right, welcome to Buffalo Plus. Hello, folks. Mike, Dan,
I'm going
Jenna.
with the glasses today. I need them.
On the drive home Monday night, Mike lost them. Lost them in the car.
Yeah.
Didn't know where they were.
But
Were they on top of his head?
Nope.
No, they weren't.
Okay.
But I was.
You never know, folks.
Excuse me. I was editing at the time.
You were.
Because you edit in the car.
I do, and I'm a lot better than you are at.
I'm the chauffeur, is honestly what I am. I'm the team driver.
And by the way,
That's true.
whoever,
That's fair.
and you Bills fans coming back, if they were coming back east,
Yeah.
whoever decides to do road paving on the
atrocious.
thruway
It's not
after a
good.
Bills game, seriously. I wonder if any of you noticed that. We noticed it.
We did.
Anyhow, go ahead.
I think there's a football game on Sunday. That's what I've heard.
Yep, Dan and I are heading to Miami.
Yeah, what a
Joe
rough trip.
Cut this.
Yep,
Hoodie again, Dan. Hoodie
What do you
again.
again?
I'm here.
Dan Orlovsky look.
We have Laura Rutledge.
Yes.
Dan Orlovsky. I'm Marcus Spears.
I
We're ready to
met
go.
Dan Orlovsky
When?
on Monday night.
He did.
Did
was
you
one-
really?
Yep,
you
I
didn't get a
did.
picture?
No.
Why?
If you had a hoodie on,
If
you
I'd
would've had
he had a hoodie on. No, he was in suit.
suit.
He was
Yeah,
suit.
he was doing the game.
Yeah, they did the ESPN.
The game. All right, we just are going to be talking a ton, obviously, about the injuries. We're going to be talking about.
You do talk a ton. Sorry, I was posting to Instagram too. All right, game time. We'll focus in.
Hey.
Jenna was focused on the Instagram.
And for everybody that's watching, I was right. And I can't wait to prove
Oh,
it.
we're going to talk about
I can't
this.
wait to prove it.
Unbearable.
Unbearable. You weren't in the car with him. We were at the presser today. Oh my gosh. All right, we're going to talk about a lot. So please be
Charles
sure.
is going to be at the stadium.
Are
Come
we
say
on?
hi.
We're on YouTube as well. We're
Dan
sure we're on YouTube.
was right.
No. Who made that title on the Buffalo Plus video? All right, we're going to talk all about Bills. We're going to talk about this Dolphins game, injuries, all that stuff. We're going to take a very quick break, but we will be right back.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome into Buffalo Plus Live, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. The Bills coming off that big win against the Tennessee Titans, but now up next in Week 3, the Miami Dolphins down in South Florida. We know this is going to be a divisional game. It's shaping up to be a showdown as the Dolphins are also 2-0. Mike, what do you think is the mindset of this team as we get ready for this game?
Yeah, I think the Bills' mindset is just taking care of business. It's what it's been, right? They feel like they're the team that owns the AFC East, and New England last year was the team that challenged them. I think they believe, and I think most people in the league would believe, Miami's the team that has the shot to challenge them. It's very different on the Miami side.
Yeah.
Because this is, no matter what they say, this is a game that shows where they are at the moment.
Yeah.
But for the Bills, it all starts, as you know, it all starts with the AFC East.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get in the playoffs. That's not lip service when they say
Yeah.
that. Win the division and then go from there.
This is a game that if we were covering the Dolphins would be the measuring stick that the
Yeah.
Bills have had the last few years, whether it was Kansas City in Week 6 last year, we talk about, and they always say, well, it's, just 1 week at a time and all these things. But this is, Miami has a sense of confidence, a sense of that they can be a contender.
Yep.
They're starting to believe that with a new coach. It's a new philosophy. There's new energy. Mike McDaniel talked this week that there's juice around the building that I don't think was there. So that makes it a tougher test. And it's a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Why don't we say that? 5 straight games have been in primetime.
Yeah, that is something that I feel like this team will adjust to, because it used to be 1 o'clock every Sunday. You could set your clock to it. Now, obviously, with the prime time, with the spotlight, the Bills are kind of shifting back. It is a shorter week. They played just on Monday night as they get ready for this game, but that is something to monitor. And then also just the injuries that are taking place for this team, because that is something, I mean, it's only entering Week 3, but at practice on Thursday, this video is from, there were a lot of key guys, Dan, that were not out there.
Yeah, it's a laundry list. It is a phone book list of how many players are injured. Guys that did not practice on Thursday include Dane Jackson, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Jordan Phillips. It was a long list of players even that were limited. Dawson Knox, Mitch Morse, Gabe Davis. The list goes on and on. Mike, injuries, major concern, especially this early in the season.
Yeah, and this has not happened since Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have been there. They've had good training,
Yeah.
good prehab and rehab,
Yeah.
what they like to do, and also some good luck. I mean, it's honestly been the case. And early in the year, it's a bunch of guys at the same time. And we're talking about Poyer and Hyde here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing. Gabe Davis, we don't know, as we're talking about this now, we don't know if he's going to be ready. He didn't play in the last game, but you've got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, you've got other guys. It's a little different in that secondary with those guys. They are so important to what they do.
Yeah.
They're the kind of guys that if they've had limited practice, I still think they can play. But I don't expect to see both of them out there on Sunday. We'll wait to see. But, Dan, we've talked about it too. It is just week number 3. It's hard to feel that way, but it is week number 3.
Especially when it's 2-2-0 teams going up against one another. And I tweeted it on Thursday, and just the fact of the sense that Jenna and I, when we were at practice, Gabe Davis looked good in the beginning with individual work, some ladder work.
Yeah.
Really didn't look good towards the end of our media portion of practice. He was officially listed as limited, but remember, this was an injury that happened on last Saturday, so it's not even a week. He's had ankle injury issues before, so my gut would say he's shaky at best to play.
Now, go ahead.
Again, this is something to monitor, and if you are watching the show on Sunday, the day of the game, things could be changing. But Von Miller talked about at practice this week what it means for the rest of this team as they get ready for game.
Every single team in this league is going to have to deal with some type of injury, and I know it's cliche, but it is the truth. Like, you just have to be able to step up. Like, you have to have another guy come in, and it can't be a drop-off. Every single year you see a number 2 guy come in and make a name for himself and become a superstar with the opportunity that he had from the star that was injured or wasn't able to play. So we got guys like that on our team, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what these guys can do if guys are not able to play.
I always think of the Marv line, like depth is a great thing until you have to use it, and there could be the real possibility, Mike, that this team needs to use that.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing about having a guy out and somebody fills in. I mean, Jake Kumaro makes a catch, and everybody's happy, right? That happens.
Definitely.
But there's a point where this attrition, losing player after player, important players too. So you're talking about, let's say, based on what it was early in the week, if you're talking about Poyer and Hyde and Dane Jackson, let's just say none of them are playing. You have backups and rookies playing in the secondary against a Miami team. We're going to be talking about their offense too. So, the one good thing the Bills have going for them, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, right?
Yeah.
You can score, we can score.
Yeah.
This offense feels confident to score every time they have the football. I'm not saying they may have to do that, but maybe they have to do that.
But this could be one of those games that we had talked about when Josh Allen started to ascend to this superstar caliber quarterback, that there are some games where, whether it's injuries, whether your defense just doesn't have a good game, your quarterback needs to just will your team to victory and to be able to say, hey, keep it to 28 and we'll score 33. like that's kind of what that sense is. And that could be it this week.
Well, we also talked a little bit about, and we got to talk to the players this week about how there's the reminder every week in the NFL that you cannot give up. You cannot let a team come back. And the Dolphins were able to do that last week, 21-point comeback against the Ravens. But you have to continually keep your foot on the gas. And Dan, this week they talked about with the passing game, I'm like cringing going to you because you're so excited to talk about this. But
go ahead.
Explain.
I'm not a big fan of running the ball, as some of you may know. Not really a big fan of it at all. So this week, everybody says, well, you need the running game. You need the running game. I disagree to some respects.
He just cherry picks our points.
Yeah.
He really does.
First of all, you don't just disagree to a point. You say it's a waste of time to run the ball.
It's a waste of a down, yes. But it was asked was, the Bills threw the ball on 21 straight passes last week. Don't tell me they need to run the ball to have a successful offense. So I asked Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs this week about what happens when they start to get in that zone about throwing the ball and when they get that connection that they just can't be stopped.
You call so many passes in a row, you're either down a lot or you're really, really vibing on offense, and allowing that to sometimes be your run game, whether it be a check down, a quick pass here and there, just methodically moving the ball and keeping the clock running. That's another way to do it. You don't always have to run the ball to be effective in the run game. So that's kind of our thought process. Sometimes our passing game can help and be our running game when need be.
That quick passing game can be your guys'
running game.
Is that something that you believe in too?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I finished the words for you. Like, just because it's like, all right, we might get 3-4 yards here, but you also helping your quarterback also get in a rhythm, you know, and then kind of soften things up a little bit, then it opens up the run, you know. So it's kind of like works hand in hand.
Josh Allen, the smartest thing he has ever said, and he proves my point. You all think I'm crazy and think that I don't know anything about football. The Bills' running game is their passing game. It's the quick passes to Stephon Diggs and guys on the outside that are high percentage. Those passes are completed 99% of the time to Stephon Diggs, and they go for 4 to 5 yards.
Okay, wait, before you jump in, I just need to say, while Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs were answering these questions, I could not contain my eye roll. I was just like, oh, Dan is going to be insufferable on the way home. And,
So in Dan's greatest sports moments, it was winning a championship with his high school hockey team, and this day is about
the Braves. The Braves are somewhere in there as well, but yeah. Well, Mike, I feel like he cherry-picked a little.
He did. He does cherry-pick. We don't say you're going to be a running team. And I agree with what Josh and Stephon Diggs were saying. And I agree with a percentage of the way Dan says it. But there's going to be a time they need to run the ball and run it effectively, and they'll be ready for that.
All right, we've had enough of Dan gloating. All right, coming up on Buffalo Plus Live, we're talking about the Dolphins and Tua. 2-0 for this Miami team. We'll have a breakdown coming up next.
So I got Roger says, you tell him, Dan, keep driving that passing. This is the same point.
Yeah.
Wait, I loved one of the...
until your horse gives up.
So here's something that is a good point. Jason Taylor commented, he's watching, Miami Dolphin Hall of Famer, Jason Taylor. Would Dan feel the same way if we had Jonathan Taylor in the backfield? No, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would be different. This team isn't built to run the ball. They don't have the backs to run the ball. They don't have the offensive line built to run the ball. It doesn't matter. It would be different if Jonathan Taylor, the best running back in the league, was in the backfield. I would feel differently.
That's fair.
No, but it's not true.
But taking the ball out of 17's hands...
It doesn't mean... See, this is what we would refer to as a straw man argument. You build up an argument that is a false narrative and then tear it down. We're not saying you would become a running team.
Thank you.
Josh will throw the ball and have the ball in his hands 85% of the time.
Yeah, it could be more.
Orlovsky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
PG Brando, Dan is so smart. I agree.
I love the comment. I don't know who said it, but it said, what are they saying? I don't hate Dan. I just hate what Dan says.
Yes. I don't hate Dan. I hate Dan's takes. Valid.
Oh, it's
So in this case, it's kill the messenger.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it was a good day for me.
Yeah,
it was a great day.
You're sure to live it up.
Yep.
Yeah, and tell everyone about it.
Also, Adam Schefter's quote tweet. That was also in that ranking.
High.
Yeah. Isn't that framed?
That's framed in my basement.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the show. All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus Live, presented by Connors and Ferris. Let's talk about this Dolphins team. They are riding a confident streak. They are 2-0. They just had a 21-point rallying comeback against the Ravens in Week 2. Mike, what do you see from this team?
I see talent. I see enthusiasm based on the new coach. I see a quarterback that has put up with more stuff than almost any guy at his position. I mean, they tried to replace him with Brady. They tried to replace him with Deshaun Watson. They did replace him with Fitz.
Yeah.
Okay? And his coach got fired. There was the thought they were tanking, all this nonsense around him. I think he seems like a great young guy, and I would love to see him be good. I think it would be great to see this for the division. I would like to see that be the case. He has a chance. I think right now there's a little expanding of the love for Tua. That's fine. He deserves a moment like this.
And obviously he had a massive game last week against the Ravens. 6 touchdown passes, 450-plus yards. The Ravens were without their top 4 cornerbacks, so that does factor into it. But Tua and the Dolphins right now are a prime example of why coaching matters so much in the NFL. They now have Tua believes that his coach believes in him, is giving him the confidence to succeed, and its results are showing, Jenna.
Yeah, and that graphic right there, Tua leads the NFL in passing yards. Like, that statistically is the point, you know?
Yeah, he put up a ton of yards. Now, I will say this. Go back a couple of years ago with Josh Allen when he was first breaking on the scene. Now, it's not about arm strength or even athletic ability, but quarterbacks do things in different ways. There's a lot of criticism of Josh for different things, and he's obviously become a superstar. And for Tua, there are certain things he doesn't do well and maybe will never do well or doesn't have the ability to throw the ball down the field as far. But that doesn't mean he can't advance and become a much better player.
Josh Allen was even asked about that. He's a guy that's obviously been, at points earlier in his career, has been picked on by the national media, but he talked about weathering the storm. And I'm not saying that Tua will become Josh Allen, but at the same point, there is that point of, okay, this is a guy that's kind of been through it and is now succeeding. Is his ceiling as high? We don't know that yet, but this will be a test on Sunday.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with the Dolphins and a test is everybody down in Miami is saying, is this your game coming up this week?
And they have a big test. The Bills have pretty much dominated the Dolphins since Josh Allen became quarterback. And Tua was asked about what it's like facing this Bills team.
They're tough defensively. They're explosive offensively. So I wouldn't say that we have a measuring stick for how good that these guys are. Because you look at it, their opening game, they beat the Super Bowl champions of last year. And they didn't just beat them, you know. It was it was by a lot. And the next team they played, really good team, they beat them by a lot. So for us, we're just looking at playing the way we play and playing the way we've played for the past 2 weeks. And we'll go out there, they'll get our best, and we'll get theirs.
There has been criticism about Tua's play, his arm strength, all of those things. Universally, he is beloved as a human being. And everybody, Josh said he hung out with him at the F1 race in Miami this summer, said he's a great guy. Like, you can't find people to talk poorly on his personality and character.
I feel like with fans in the division, in terms of Bills fans, like, they don't want to give Miami too much credit. There's been a lot of hate on the Dolphins just upcoming year. You can see the buy-in, though, in Miami, and this will be, like you said earlier, a measuring stick of kind of where this team is at, and they do have weapons. I mean, Tyreek Hill is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that can make any quarterback better. This guy, the Bills have been obsessed with him since with his time with the Chiefs, and now they see him twice a year.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill is a freak of nature with the way he runs. I mean, there are fast guys in this league. He's the fastest. And Jenna, he changes everything in the football game when he's out there.
He does.
I mean, you have to be looking at 10 the entire time. You have to keep him in front of you. He's crushed the Bills. He did it in the playoffs last year. He did it the year before in the championship game.
Yeah.
And now they see him twice a year.
That speed matters.
Speed matters, and they talk about Tyreek Hill the same way they talked about Aaron Donald from week 1.
Yeah.
Just saying that he is one of one. He is the most dominant, explosive offensive player in the National Football League. And you caught up with what they were talking about in Miami.
Yeah, Will Manso covers the team. He's been in Miami a long time at Local 10 in Miami, WPLG. And I asked him, I said, have Dolphins fans bought in yet to this team?
You know, so when you look at what they are, this town is desperate for the Dolphins to be good. So right now, it's like on a scale where this is like, euphoria and craziness, and this is like nobody cares. The Dolphins have worked their way up to like here, and everybody's just dying to jump into here. But they got to win games like this. They've got to be a contender. They've got to make the playoffs and make some noise before it reaches that level again. And people are desperate to get there. They just don't want to get burned. There's a saying here, Mike, it's same old Dolphins. People are like, that's the same old Dolphins. Same old Dolphins. People don't want the same old Dolphins.
It wasn't that long ago we heard same old Bills, right?
Yeah.
So things can change quickly.
Things can change.
Not for long is the NFL.
Yeah, culture change, buying in. You've seen it in Miami. All right, coming up, we're talking more about Miami and that heat down there in southern Florida. We'll have the game day forecast as well and what that can mean for the Bills. We'll have it coming up.
The interview with Will Manso, if people go on the YouTube channel, he's really good. We talked to him last year about it. He's been in Miami for years, and he talked to me about that and just how the Dolphins, when he first came to Miami, the Dolphins were the only thing. There was no Marlins.
Wow.
There was no Heat. You know,
Wow.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy
It was
to
very
think
different,
of.
and the Dolphins had come. It was that whole Dan Marino time, and they just haven't really been able to get that back. And even the University of Miami was incredibly popular for a while, so it's coming back
those were
a little.
bigger games to go to.
Oh, no doubt.
Than the NFL.
But now, this would be the kind of game, maybe not where they become, they're not like Bills fans. I told them, I go, in Orchard Park in Western New York, it's 11 and a half months, and I'm not sure what they're doing the other 2 weeks of the year, but they're thinking about the Bills.
Steve Cook has a comment on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel saying, can we really call Miami's offense elite? We are only 2 weeks into the season. That's not enough games to say they are elite. I understand, and to that point, I will agree with Steve and say, guess what? Joe Flacco is on pace to throw for 5,000 yards. Okay, we are at Stephon Diggs is on pace for 34 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Neither of those things are going to happen.
Miami's offense is not elite, at least not yet. It's explosive.
But it's got the young offensive mind in Mike McDaniel
It could be that.
with arguably the best wide receiving duo in the National Football League.
They passed the last 2 tests. It's early on, but you saw, and obviously, like you said, Mike, the explosiveness.
By the way, real quick, their offense wasn't great against New England and wasn't great for a good portion of that Baltimore game.
That's very fair.
But when they did,
when they needed to
it
be,
was big.
Yeah.
It was big for them.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the start of the show. Welcome back to Buffalo Plus Live, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. We're talking game day. We also need to take a look, though, at some of the injuries. And we want to take a look at the UR Medicine Sports Medicine Injury Report, because there are a lot of names on this list on Thursday when we are taping the show. And that's something to monitor, because we know this Bills game, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a test of their secondary as well, because we know there are so many guys that we have not seen out on the field. And Dan, why don't you just speak a little bit just on what that could mean for those rookies out there?
Well, somebody's got to step up. That's what the NFL is all about. Sean McDermott said it's just next guy up. Look, they could be without Jordan Poyer. They could be without Micah Hyde. They could be without Dane Jackson. I mean, there's the injury report. As you can see on Thursday, a lot of DNPs and a lot of limited. So
did not practice,
not good. Bob. Not good.
And the other thing, too, is as we get to the game, Dan and I will be in Miami. Follow all of us on social media, especially Twitter. We can give you updates on what we're hearing and what we know about those Bills injuries.
Yeah, something to monitor for sure. Also, something to check out is the heat. I mean, it is officially fall, and in Western New York, it is felt like it.
Hoodie season.
It is hoodie season, and Mike, you know how hot it gets. And at Hard Rock Stadium, if people do not know, the visitors' bench is directly in the sun. It gets steamy.
Yeah, it will definitely have an impact. It's a little less sun than it used to be before they put that cover. But you think about it, it's almost
as someone who's on the sidelines, Dan can attest.
Yes.
It's
made for the fans. That's what I'm saying is the cover's made for the fans.
Me.
It's not made for you on the field. And what I was going to say is, think about it. The weather is almost exactly what people expect. In Western New York, it's going to be in the 60s, sunny, perfect early fall day. And in Miami, 80s, humid, with chances of rain, heavy rain, and thunderstorms. Chances. There always is chances there. But I do think
did it last year.
It can be impactful.
I was there.
Well, remember last year I was like, the heat, that could be an issue with cramping and all that stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh, Jenna, you're so dramatic.
No, I said it's early in the year. It'd be different if it was in December here in Western New York, or if it was December everywhere, because that's how calendars work. If it was December and they weren't used to the heat. They did just get done with August here. It was warm as well, but it's going to be a different level. It rained today at practice on Thursday.
It was cold.
But I think also, man, it always rains it downpours for like 20 minutes every single day.
Yeah,
it does it every day down there.
Miserable.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
Wow. I had him complaining already. We haven't even left from Miami yet.
Because I know what the weather's going to be. It's going to be terrible because I'm shooting the game.
And also, to your credit, Dan, you will not be in a covered, air-conditioned, buffeted press box. So you know what? I get it. I do get it.
I'll be there.
All right, well,
70.
we'll get into our picks and predictions, but first, you talked to Greg Connors, of course.
Greg Connors is heading down to Miami to see the game, and I talked to him about what he thinks of this matchup, looking at all the injuries and every other part of the way the Bills go into it, and he says it starts with the big guys up front on defense.
I look at it in the context that it all, for me, comes down to the Bills' defensive line. If that defensive line can maintain and have that consistency of pressure that they put on in the first 2 weeks, I think the secondary steps up, because as a former defensive back, I was always a much better DB when I had a great defensive line. So that line steps up, they play, they're healthy, they can make that happen. I think it covers any weaknesses we may have in the secondary, and that really is where our weakness is right now. But with that being said, I think I think it's going to be the Bills 31-17.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you can get pressure with that D-line,
yeah,
this is what you brought Von Miller in for, right?
Yeah.
In these moments you need it, get him off of his spot and play deep. That's what I think they're going to do in the secondary.
I agree.
Keep Tyreek Hill in front of you.
All right, well, coming up, we'll have our picks and predictions for the game as we do our picks as well as our records for this upcoming season. Look at Josh Allen, just being him.
Wait for it. There it is.
All right, we'll have that coming up after the break. Hello.
George McKay, thanks for teaching us about calendars, Professor Dan. Well done. Totally deserve that one. David Corsall says it rains or snows every game Dan covers. It's true.
That actually
really is. It really is true. And Brando says I could see Dan being a coach.
Wow.
By the way, David Corsall says it rains or has snow every game Dan covers.
Is there an echo?
Michael, he just read that.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. I was reading.
That was a different comment. I thought it was a different person.
Oh my God!
Are you okay?
No, I was reading all these comments, and I've heard you so much today. I didn't pay attention. Did you read Jenna has I Dream of Jeannie Hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing my best,
That's
Laura
it.
Rutledge. NFL Live. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Mike once again getting the luxury box. He's the elder of the group. We have to respect that.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Steve. Even though I just had a senior moment.
I was gonna say that makes it seem like you're about to break your hip.
You're gonna take the the seated chair ride up to the press box.
Oh my gosh, Mike, we're absolutely gonna clip that.
Oh, Richard, gotta love old people. Thanks a lot, Richard. Time to retire. Man, they're going hard here.
Take off those glasses.
No kidding.
It's not helping your cause.
I know. I needed them.
Oh man. Okay, wait. This game. Well, I'll wait for the restart of the show. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
You got something important to say?
No. Are you sure you don't want to repeat something Dan just said?
Every game Dan covers, I was paying no attention to.
You were locked in.
None.
You were too excited.
I wasn't even talking about the running game.
We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's talk our picks and predictions for this game. Dan, I felt like this game was kind of hard to pick.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills are a 5-point favorite as of right now, and I think that's a little much to go down to Miami in a tough scenario. But listen to this. I was right about the passing game and the running game. I will be right on my predictions. All of us are 2-0 because we've all picked the Bills. I'll take the Bills again in this one simply because of the offense. This one comes down to, once again, Josh Allen is just the better quarterback. I think the defense can make enough plays. I think they will get pressure on Tua. I think that Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, those guys have to be energized to help the back end where their weaknesses and injuries are. I am not sure about Tua facing against a Leslie Frazier defense. He has struggled in the past. I think that continues. Close game. Bills win 33-30.
I also have this one being a close game, and I believe it'll be decided by 3 points because I do think that this Bills team, while they're dealing with injuries, they're just equipped to have that high-scoring game. We've seen Josh Allen do it before. We've seen him be able to run up the score. And, I mean, Stephon Diggs even talked about this week. We try to score as many points until Sean McDermott tells us to stop. They know that this Dolphins team can rally. They can have a comeback. So I think that means this Bills team is just that much more locked in and that much sure to keep their foot on the gas in this one. I have the Bills winning 27-24. We shall see, but I until the Bills lose, I honestly want to just continue to pick them.
Yeah, look, we start with this every week. They have the better team, and they have the better quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, the injuries are an issue.
Yeah.
And the one thing about it is that heat could also be an issue. We're talking
Yeah.
about the pass rushers.
Realistically,
we're talking about continuing to get pressure. So, but that also works both ways. Even if Miami plays down there, go chase Josh Allen around for 60 minutes and see how you feel. I think the Bills will score. I think Miami will get points. I mean, come on. The Bills, even if some of these guys play, they're not going to be 100%. So here's my final score. I've got the Bills winning it, similar to you guys, 33-27. Keep in mind that would break the streak because they've won their last 20 regular season games by double digits.
Double digits.
Which is incredible.
That's
but,
very true. All right.
They'd get a close win.
All right, that's true. We'll see a look at all of our picks right now as we are all going Bills in this game, and we did change Mike's photo back to
Look at that.
one that was taken.
You're going to take one of me even older soon.
Yeah, well, after your comment.
Yeah, that's it.
There's always that. Well, we always appreciate you all for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen. That'll take you directly to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. We always enjoy the comments. Be sure to click on some videos as well to help you get prepared for this game. For Mike and Dan, I am Jenna. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching Buffalo Plus Live, presented by Connors and Ferris.